Well, it's episode 4. I think at this point, Joe Rogan's a little worried that I'm going to take his number 1 spot on Spotify. This is Deep Dive with Dano. I'm Dano. Let's get started. Hey, we're back for episode 4, Deep Dive with Dano. I know probably going to find this hard to believe, but I still have a friend. Joel is back.
Yes, sir. Well, we are back.
Hey, thanks for coming back and doing another one.
I appreciate it.
Maybe we got to make this a regular thing or something, huh?
I love the sound of that.
I'll tell you what. Spotify now has a new feature.
Okay.
So if you're listening right now on Spotify, all you have to do is scroll, not very much, right below this podcast, and there's going to be a poll down there. There's a poll down there. You'll find it. Should Joel Keiser come back?
Ooh, that's scary.
I don't know, it could be scary.
I'm a little scared about that one.
Even if you say no, he's coming back, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
But let's just have fun with it.
I think that would make me...
You should just vote yes.
Because Jesus loves you.
Because Jesus loves... Somebody needs to.
Somebody needs to.
Because I'm not sure if my mom does or not. So... No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to make that the poll. That's too personal. And I'm my only friend getting his feelings hurt.
And then never wanting to come back.
But in all seriousness, there's going to be a poll down there.
Yep.
If you just scroll down, just answer. It's simple. I know a lot of you are like listening in your car. Do not do it right now if you're in your car.
Please don't. But
I'd like for you, when you get to a safe spot, just answer the poll. Just make it easy. At least leave a comment. That really helps us.
We love the comments.
Yeah.
Those help out a lot.
Put the comments out. We're thankful for those of you who left one on the last episode, but and we'll be excited about it. So Joel, I want to start with this question here. What like worship song or maybe even a Christian song, something in that genre, what one are you listening to these days? What's on the loop?
I'm listening to a lot of good Christian songs that have recently dropped and everything, but the one that's really been driving me home is a song called Come to Jesus by Christian Stanfill. I just love, I first heard it at Passion Conference over break from school and everything, and it was just a song that really like hit home, especially like when he talks about this idea of like there's room for us all at the foot of the cross. He's waiting there with arms open wide so we can leave everything that's happened in the past behind and just solely focus on what God has for us into the future, because God holds everything in his hands. He's got the future taken care of.
I've actually not heard that. And that they probably just released that with Passion, didn't they? Yeah,
I checked it because when I was listening to Passion, wanting to get, because we had the opportunity to go down this year to watch it with the group and everything, and with the live stream, it kind of was a little messy, but just being able to have the opportunity to sit down, listen to the worship that they have and the messages, that was one of the songs that really stood out to me, and it left just the message behind it really resonated with me, and it stuck. So.
Okay, so Christian Stanfill, what's the song again?
Come to Jesus.
Come to Jesus. So go listen to it.
Yeah.
You should go listen to that. Put it on your playlists. We listened to it a little bit before we started our podcast. Unfortunately, we can't play it for you because
we don't.
The powers to be we don't have the money to pay them. So we're just going to say that.
Yep.
No one's, I know he's surprised, but no one's knocking our door down giving us some sponsorships. So ALA, hey, there we go. We would take that one.
Yes, we would.
So go listen to it. Come to Jesus by Christian Stanfill, maybe even Passion. It's probably one of those two because he's the lead singer for them. So,
yes, he is.
Okay, so Joel, let me ask you this: what do you feel like God is maybe doing or teaching you these days since our last podcast?
Man, heading into the new year, the big emphasis at where I work and everything was we talked, and even the people around me, we've talked about, having a kind of a word that's going to drive your year. And I've even sat down and talked with some friends about this, doing everything, and it kind of can be put into two separate ways. So the word I continue to tell people is trust, but then I look at it a different way, and the word is surrender. Trusting, because I did trust last year. Trusting that God has the plan laid out for me, trusting that God is going to work all things out for his glory. But this year, more than anything, just that idea of, you trust him, you say you trust him, but there's still moments where I'm trying to do and mold what I want to happen. And ultimately, what I think is the big thing for me is just surrender it. Like, I trust him with it, but I need to, like, if I'm going to do that, I need to surrender it to him.
The idea of surrender, you got to let it go.
Yeah.
Right? Like, God, I trust you're going to do something with it, but I'm going to hang on to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's something I feel like, a lot of people can struggle with. Like,
sure.
It's you want your life, people want you to even say, like, it's your life, you do this, like, you go do it, something like that. But, like, at the end of the day, you have to realize, like, no, I don't know about that one. Like, you have to be able to surrender it. And
I'll tell you something that comes to mind is, like, growing up, we would have, like, a toy would break, right? And you'd go and show my dad. I would show my dad.
Yeah.
My toy broke. Sometimes even, you're upset as a little kid when that happens.
Oh, yeah.
And did I believe my dad could do something about it? Yes, I did. That's why I went to him.
Yeah.
Right? Look, my toy broke. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
But then, and some of it was I wanted to tell on somebody, if it wasn't me that broke it. But there were times I remember my dad saying, well, let me fix it.
Yeah.
And it would say, but I don't want to give it to you.
Yep.
And I remember my dad saying, well, I can't fix it if I can't hold it.
Yeah.
Right? I can't fix it if you won't let me have it.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
So, there were times where I knew, and I truly believe this to this day, my dad, I knew he could do it, but I wasn't going to give it to him because that was my toy.
Yeah.
And so we do that a lot. That's a great observation on the difference of trusting and surrender.
And I really didn't, like, think about it until, like, I'm not even kidding, till yesterday. Like, we had a staff devotion at work, and we talked about that, and they gave us, like, this quiz that we could do to, like, maybe just to try and find something. Like, it doesn't have to be, like, that specific word. But I went into it, I had told them, I'm like, I picked the word trust heading into this year. So I went on and I took it, and it said surrender. So then I looked into surrender, and I said, okay, there is a big, big difference between the two. Because you can trust somebody, like you said, you can trust somebody that they can do it, or you can trust somebody that, like, everything's going to work out. But until you, like, fully hand it over, like you said, with your dad and the toy, nothing can be fixed.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Because as long as I'm holding on to it,
I still have my hand in it.
Yeah. And I'm playing a control.
Yes.
I'm playing a control game.
Yes.
That, again, if you go back to as a little kid, hey, let me help. Let me help. My dad was very gracious in that, come and help, knowing it wasn't going to turn out how it could.
Yeah.
So we do. I don't even know that we say to God, let me help.
No.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
just let me hang on to it.
Let me keep my hands in this
Yeah.
while you do it.
Right. Yeah. And what's tough is that I think sometimes we come from, we do that with God because the last time I trusted someone,
Mm-hmm.
I got burned.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done this before. And I think it's just part of our nature that we want to take kind of the bad experiences of our earthly personal relationships.
Yeah.
And we tend to apply that to our relationship with God. And he is not the same.
Yeah.
You know, no one that I've ever been in a relationship, whether it's a friend, whether it's dating, now married,
Mm-hmm.
none of those people have been God.
Yes.
Now, some might think, you know, if
Yeah.
they're listening, which I doubt they are, they just got their feelings hurt because I think they thought they were.
Yeah.
But they're not. And so many times we take all of the bad experiences we have and we say, God will do that to me too. And we forget that he's the perfect heavenly Father.
Yep.
You know? And so, yes, I've done this in relationships with imperfect people.
Mm-hmm.
That does not translate to my relationship with my perfect heavenly Father.
Yeah.
You know?
Big time.
And so we do that. And listen, let's just break this down for young professionals, right? 20-somethings.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Let's break this down, right? Do I trust that he's going to find me a spouse? Yep.
Yep.
But have you surrendered it to him?
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like we're dealing with we're dealing with God who created all things in 6 days and on the seventh day rested. I think he can take care of who you're going to marry.
Or even like the job that you're looking for.
Or the job. Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Do I trust God's going to find me a job or supply or, you know, yep, provide that? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But I'm going to meddle in it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get anxious about it. I'm going to get in a hurry about it
Mm-hmm.
instead of waiting on God. Right? And so we have so many of these things that, you know, we can, because here's the thing with so many of us, we talk about these things vaguely.
Yeah.
But let's put the pencil to paper here, right? So yeah, I trust God with relationships. Yeah, but have you surrendered your dating to him? Right? And surrender is handing it to him, but then it's also taking the principles he wants you to begin to apply to your life.
Yeah.
Right?
Big time.
So it isn't just here, you go deal with it, God, fix all of it for me. Well, there's an exchange here that happens. And he says, okay, when you're ready to begin living in my principles and promises that I have for you, then I'll be able to really start to guide and direct you in some of this. That's part of that surrender.
Yeah.
You know, this
Big
isn't
time.
just hand it off and say, good luck, God.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I trust him, but do you surrender it? You know, so yeah, we got to work on that. So, man, that's good stuff. I like that.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that to the table.
Anytime. Anytime.
So you actually, before we started recording here, you had something that you thought you'd want to discuss. So I'm going to hand it off to you. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So in one of your recent messages here lately, you kind of drove in this idea of a phrase similar to how I said like a word. You talk about a phrase.
Yeah, I'm big on New Year's phrases or, I don't know, mottos, themes, whatever.
I've never really looked at it like that, and I love the idea. And the idea that you brought to the table was stick to the point.
Yeah.
So my big question for you is like, could you give us a little background on maybe where that came from,
Sure,
or how you got to that point?
Yeah. Well, I guess we should say for those that don't know, I pastor a church.
Yes.
I don't know if that's anywhere we've mentioned that. So I've been doing it a while. I just realized a couple weeks ago I've been doing 25 years.
Really?
It's a long time. It's a long time.
You're a young man. It's fine.
So a little bit behind that, and I didn't dive into it a whole lot when I shared or gave the message. But that's really my theme, personal theme for 2025. Stick to the point. Where I came from that is just this correlation of, I've got some people in my life when they tell stories, they're kind of, they like to come out here and involve details that don't really matter.
Yes,
definitely. Or by the time they're done, they got 4 stories into one, and you just keep thinking, man, stick to the point here, right?
Oh yeah, big time. I know that.
Or you get some people that will get hung up on certain details. Was it a Tuesday? Was it a Thursday? Oh, was it Tuesday? Like, I don't know that detail matters.
I was going to say,
right?
It
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the car was red or blue. Just get to the point. Right?
Could have been 6 months ago. It could have been a week ago.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
That's right. Stick to the point. And so then you draw the correlation that really our lives, they're a story.
Yeah,
right?
Big time.
And oftentimes our storytelling as we're living our lives, it's all over the place, right? We make bad choices.
Yes.
And we make it a long season of bad decisions, one after another, convincing ourselves, whatever, this is what we want, this is what we need. And then we finally come to our senses and God draws us back, right? And so there's so many parts of our stories as we're living it out from day to day where we didn't stick to the point. The point being God.
Definitely.
Right. And the reason that is, and I gave 2 descriptors of the point, right? It can't change, can't be moved, and it can never be taken away. Right? So there's so much in life that we chase after where those descriptors don't fit. Right? I can't make my salary the point because that always changes.
Definitely.
And it can be gone. Right? I could lose a job. It can't be the career I choose because that job can be gone. It can't be trophies, scholarships.
No. Yeah.
It can't be any of that because all of that can be gone in an instant, and it can't even be people. We all know that, we've all lost or, dealt with that. And so when you start to look at the descriptor of the point has to be something that can't be taken away and never moved, never changed, you ultimately land on the only thing that can be the point of my life has to be Jesus Christ, because he's the only thing that fits those 2 descriptors. And yet so many times in my story of my life, I get out here and then I get hung up on, right? I get sucked into the life of perfectionism, right?
Yes.
Now I'm getting hung up on details that don't matter, right? It does not matter what car you drive. It does not matter, right?
What day of the week
it doesn't matter. And we get so hung up on perfectionism, and then we don't make any progress towards the point, which is Christ.
Definitely.
And so we get hung up on that. So the whole idea there was just, getting back to the place and sharing passages out of Philippians. Paul, just does a fantastic job of just, to live as Christ, to die as gain. My whole goal, Paul says, is that God would be glorified whether I'm alive or whether I'm dead. Yeah. That he'd be glorified. That's the point. My life for God's glory.
Definitely.
So whether it's this job, that career, maybe I went to college and realized what I wanted to go for I hated. Maybe I went to college and realized what I wanted to be I couldn't do.
Yeah.
Right? Like I got into a couple of them classes and was like, okay,
I don't know about this.
I don't know if I'm going to do this one.
Yeah.
Right?
Big time.
And so whatever it is, man, if my point and my focus is always Christ, that's fixated. Whether it's a storm, he's an anchor. Whether it's the mountaintop and I'm ecstatic about where my life is, he is to be thanked for that. Right?
Yeah.
And so he's the point. And if I always keep my mind focused there, that can never be taken from me. And no matter what happens, he'll never move. Right?
That makes sense.
And so that's kind of the driving force, or kind of that, behind that. So.
Yeah. So one thing that kind of stuck out to me just from what you said is, like you said, God is the point. Like, God is what we need to put our focus on. God is what our driving force needs to be. Why do you think it's so easy for us to put other things as our point?
Yeah. I'd say the biggest culprit in our lives is comparison. We get sucked up into that, and social media
is a big factor.
Has made that a massive issue.
Mm-hmm.
In not, and we can say especially in teens and 20 somethings,
big time.
But it happens in adults too.
Oh yeah,
right. Like it's so easy to you look at all of this, and let's face it, social media is a facade, right? You are, and I don't remember where I heard this or where I got it from, but the saying is that when you're looking at social media, you're looking at everyone's highlight reels.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you're
big
comparing them to your behind-the-scenes footage. Okay? You don't ever compare the highlight reels to your highlight reels. You compare someone's highlight reels to your behind-the-scenes footage. And so this comparison, and so you start to think, well, gosh, I didn't get married in the right timeline.
Yeah.
Right? Here I am, 35, 30, 29, and I'm still not married. Look at all my friends are, right?
Yeah.
God's forgotten me. And so I start to think that that's the point, right? Oh my gosh, I had to take a couple extra years of classes because I didn't do so well in my first couple semesters. And so look at all my friends. They're done with college, now working in their master's. I'm still trying to get my bachelor's. And so we're sucked into that comparison. Or, even material possession. Oh my gosh, they already bought a house and I'm still renting. Oh my gosh, my cars are always breaking down. And that's a true story. And it seems like, gosh, when do I get a break? So I think comparison is a huge one.
Definitely.
I think it's important to remember, in life that, and this is a lesson I learned not too long ago. God really worked on this with me over the last year and a half, was the trial is not the thing that's happening to you, right? Whether my car breaks down, flat tire, and then I got to get out and it's pouring down rain, right?
Yeah.
And we can say things like, God, why are you letting this happen? Why is
why is this taking
why
place?
is the enemy, coming after me, right? But the trial is not the thing happening. Okay. The trial are the options that I have and how I respond. That's the trial. Am I going to be bitter, or am I going to push through and persevere? Right? That's the trial.
That is a big one.
The trial is, am I going to forgive, or am I going to be bitter? That's the trial. Now, there's people that play parts in that stuff, but the trial is not what's happened. The trial is, right? And so, am I going to be angry at God? Or am I going to come to him and hang on to the anchor?
Yeah.
A little more.
Big.
Am I going to lean in a little harder?
Yeah.
Because I need him. And so when we look at this comparison game, it's so easy to be sucked in and think, oh, I've been forgotten. Oh, God, he does something for them but doesn't do anything for me.
Or even the thing of like, well, God doesn't love me for if I don't have these things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think comparison, I know it's a long way of answering your question, but I think comparison is a big, massive component. And then number two would be just not being firmly established in the word. Because in those moments of discouragement, it is so easy for us to believe half truths.
Yeah.
And that'll make a mess of things, right? And so we develop our own ideology. So that's kind of the whole premise behind that, the ideology of stick to the point. If you want to listen to it, I don't usually do this. I don't do it a lot, but if you do want to listen to it, you can go to Common Ground CC. We are on Spotify, or you can go get our app from the App Store, whatever device you use. But those are available if you want to listen to it and hear it kind of in detail. But that's kind of the idea behind that. So yeah,
it's a good message. That's for sure.
I appreciate that.
Anytime.
So listen, that's what we got for the episode 4. Thank you, Joel, again. And don't forget, when we're done here and when you're at a safe place, go down and answer the poll. That really helps us out. Okay?
Tremendously.
So that's what we got for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Hey, do us another favor. Share it. Share it. Share the link. Share it with other people. We'd really like to have others listening to it. So That's all we have for now. This is Deep Dive with Dano, and I'm Dano, and we appreciate you listening. Thanks.